Nobody in 𝗰𝗲𝘀𝗃 had ever seen a woman cook public food by the river at night, not in that village, not in any village close by. The first person who saw it was a palm wine tapper coming back late, his calabash swinging, his feet tired, his mind already on sleep. He said the fire was not the normal kind of fire, it did not dance like fire, it stood as if it was listening. He said the pot was so big it looked like a drum turned upside down. He said the woman's back was straight, her head tied, her hands moving like she had cooked that same meal for 1,000 years. And the strangest thing, he said the smell was sweet, too sweet, the kind of smell that can pull a hungry person out of their house even if they lock the door. By morning, the whole village was talking, and by afternoon, the whole village was afraid. 𝗰𝗲𝘀𝗃 was the kind of place where stories grew like weeds after rain. If you coughed, somebody would say it was a sign. If a goat sneezed, somebody would remember an old warning. The river itself had a name, River Udo, and the elders always spoke of it as if it could hear them. Children were told not to go there after sunset, not because the water was deep, but because night changed the river's face. Mothers warned their daughters, fathers warned their sons, and even the strongest hunters avoided that part when the sky turned purple. So when the palm wine tapper said a woman was there cooking food, not for herself but for anybody, the women in the market stopped pricing pepper and just stared at each other. Public food at night, by the river, was not kindness. In 𝗰𝗲𝘃, that kind of kindness had teeth. The woman's name was Mama Ejiro, but not everyone called her that. Some called her the quiet widow, some called her the stranger, even though she had lived in 𝗰𝗲𝘃 for 3 rainy seasons. She sold dry fish, she greeted people softly, she never fought in public, she never begged, and she never laughed too loud. Her hut sat close to the edge of the first night people decided to confirm the story, they went in groups, acting like they were brave. They did not go close, they hid behind trees and tall grass, their hearts beating louder than their feet. The moon was thin, like a small knife, and the air carried the smell of wet leaves. Then they saw it. The fire. The pot. The woman. And the smell, yes, the smell. It entered their noses and touched the back of their heads. Some swallowed saliva so hard their throats pained. Mama Ejiro was stirring slowly, as if she was counting each circle of the spoon. Beside her were calabashes arranged neatly, like plates waiting for guests. She did not sing, she did not talk, she only walked. Now and then she paused and looked at the river, not like someone checking water, but like someone waiting for an answer. What kind of food is that? One man whispered. Soup, another whispered back, but his voice shook. Soup for who? Nobody replied, because that was the real fear. Mama Ejiro did not look like someone cooking for her home. The pot was too big. The calabashes were too many. And the way she arranged them, it looked like she expected a crowd. Yet she was alone, and the river was the only thing sitting with her. A sudden breeze came, and the fire did not bend. The leaves around bent, their bodies obeying the wind, but the fire stayed straight as if it refused to bow. That was when one old That evening, hunger fought fear in many stomachs. You see, 𝗰𝗲𝘃 was not a rich village, and food did not always stretch. People ate what they had, they saved what they could, and sometimes they slept with empty bellies. So the idea of free food, hot food, sweet-smelling food, was like a trap baited with gold. Children heard their parents whispering. Young men joked to hide their worry. Elderly people sat outside and stared at the road that led to the river, as if their eyes could block bad luck. Finally, 3 boys, not yet men but already proud, decided to go and test the matter. Their names were Kelechi, Sonny, and Teyo, friends who always moved together like they shared one shadow. They went with confidence that comes from not knowing enough. They carried a lantern, they carried a small knife, not as a weapon, but as something to hold so their hands would not shake. When they reached the river bank, the smell hit them again, warm and deep, like pepper soup mixed with something sweeter. Mama Ejiro did not look surprised to see them. She simply nodded, as if she had been waiting. "You are welcome," she said, and her voice was calm, too calm for a night like that. She lifted a calabash and poured thick soup into it, the steam rising like a spirit itself. She added a lump of swallow, smooth and white, then she placed it on a flat stone like a table. "Eat," she said, "it is for everyone." The boys looked at each other. Their mouths wanted to say yes. Their hearts wanted to run. 𝗂𝗃cie, being the boldest, sat down first. He tore a piece of swallow, dipped it, and raised it toward his mouth, but his hand paused. "Mama," he asked, "why are you cooking here, this late?" Mama Ejiro smiled gently, the way a mother smiles at a child who does not understand time. "Because the river is awake at night," she replied. That answer was not an answer, and it made the boys uneasy. Sonny tried to laugh. "So, the river likes soup," he joked. Mama Ejiro looked at him, and for a second. The first bite was heavenly. That was the problem. It was too good, too rich, too perfect for a pot sitting beside a forbidden river. 𝗂𝗃cie's eyes widened, and he ate faster, forgetting his fear. Sonny followed, unable to resist, and soon the two of them were eating like they had not eaten in days. 𝗂𝗃, still cautious, took only a small bite, then watched Mama Ejiro's hands. Her fingers were clean, but the way she stirred, it looked like she was stirring more than soup. It looked like she was stirring an agreement. 𝗂𝗃 looked at the river, and he noticed something that made his stomach turn. The river was moving, yes, but it was moving strangely, as if a large thing underneath was shifting slowly, like a sleeping animal turning in its sleep. As the boys ate, Mama Ejiro began to speak, not to them directly, but as if she was talking to someone else beside the water. "I have kept my side," she murmured. "I have cooked, I have waited, I have served." Then she stopped stirring and listened. The night became quiet, too quiet, as if even insects were holding their breath. 𝗂𝗃cie and Sonny did not notice, because their mouths were busy, and hunger can make a person deaf. But 𝗂𝗃 noticed. He noticed the air grew colder near the river. He noticed the fire still refused to bend to the wind. He noticed that Mama Ejiro's shadow did not fall like a normal shadow, it stretched toward the water as if it wanted to enter. Then he noticed something else, something small but wrong. Mama Ejiro's feet, though she was standing on dry sand, looked wet, as if she had just stepped out of the river. 𝗂𝗃 dropped his swallow. "Mama," he said, his voice now thin, "who exactly is this food for?" Mama Ejiro turned slowly, her face calm, her eyes dark like deep water. "For the village," she replied. "For those who have eaten from others all their lives, and those who have never been given anything. For those who lie, and those who keep quiet. For those who remember, and those who pretend they have." The boys froze. Debt. That word again. In Umuok, people owed money, they owed favors, they owed apologies. But death beside River Udo at night sounded like something older than money. 𝗂𝗃's mind ran to stories he had as a child, stories of people who promised things they could not deliver, stories of rivers that took what they were owed. He stood up slowly. "I want to go home," he said. Mama Ejiro nodded as if she had expected that too. "You can go," she said. Then she added, very quietly, "but those who have started eating, should finish." 𝗂𝗃 looked at 𝗂𝗃cie and Sonny. Their eyes looked glazed, their mouths still moving, their hands dipping and tearing without thinking. It was like the food was eating them back. 𝗂𝗃 grabbed Sonny's shoulder. "Stop," he whispered, "stop eating." Sonny frowned like someone disturbed in a sweet dream. "Leave me," he mumbled, and dipped again. 𝗂𝗃cie did not even look up. 𝗂𝗃's fear became anger. He turned to Mama Ejiro. "Mama, what did you put in this food?" he demanded. Mama Ejiro's face remained soft, but her voice became harder. "Truth," she said. "I put truth inside it, and once truth enters you, it looks for where you have hidden your lies. The river made a low sound then, like a deep breath. The water rippled, even though there was no strong wind. The lantern flame shook for the first time, and for the first time, Mama Ejiro's fire also flickered, not like it feared wind, but like it responded to something waking up. Teo stepped back, his foot touching the edge where wet sand met dry sand. The smell that was sweet before now smelled sharp, like something spoiled under sugar. Mama Ejiro lifted her spoon and tapped the side of the pot 3 times, slow and deliberate, like a signal. From the river, a shape rose, not fully, but enough for Teo to see a dark curve in the water, smooth like skin, huge like a canoe turned sideways. Kelechi and Sonny stopped chewing at the same time, as if a rope pulled their jaws.